data scientists and data enthusiasts. Welcome to channel 5 Minutes of AI. And today I will be discussing my new series, Data Science Interview Tips. So I have spent around a decade in this field of data science and have interviewed 200 plus candidates. And today in this series, I want to share you my experience and what the common mistakes candidate do in their interview. So on the day one, I will be talking about regression, the forgotten hero of ML. With the upcoming all LLMs and modern techniques, people are not caring about these building blocks of ML and DL, and they are just moving around with those llama model and all, so that they can put it in and it look fancy in their resume. But most of the product companies start the interview with this linear regression or decision tree or something like that. So I will suggest everybody please be thorough with this regression topic before you're going for interview. Now coming to the questions, what is linear regression? So in this thing, I expect somebody will tell me theoretical along with mathematical derivations like how they are deriving this formula and some statistics behind that formula. Metrics of linear regression, when to use them and the difference. So whenever you are using the evaluation metric of regression like MSE, RMSE, MAPE, so please read it thoroughly, like when to use it, why RMS is used over MSC and all. So read it thoroughly. What is adjusted R square and all, p value, whatever it is. Go through it. Take your time and go through it thoroughly, so that when somebody asks, you can explain it and what's the difference between each evolution metrics and all. Now coming to the next question, the assumptions of linear regression and how will you test them? This is very common question. So almost 100 candidates I've asked, only 60% of them have given me the satisfactory answer for this. Some of them have not heard about it. So, assumption of linear regression is very important, and also the test which you do to check each assumptions. And statistics related regression. So, regression have variance, covariance, standard deviation, p value. A lot of things are related to linear regression. So, when somebody is asking linear regression, they expect you know these all thing also, mean, median, mode, and all, so that when a QQ plot or all plots also, so that when I ask you, you back up with these statistical terms. Types of regression, there are like multiple, polynomial, ridge, lasso, and I know ResNet and all, like lots of regression, stepwise regression. So go through each of one of them and when to use it over other. What is multicollinearity and does it affect the performance of model? So this is very common questions and it's not very tough. So I expect everybody should know this. Then what's the coefficient of correlation and coefficient of determination? Pretty much state question, state difference, state definition. You can Google it and look into it. It is also important question to ask in the interview. The question number 8 is a bit tricky, but it is similar to assumptions on linear regression. So when to use linear regression? Advantage and disadvantage of linear regression, and I would like to say that advantage and disadvantage of each regression you should know. What is advantage and what is disadvantage, so that when I ask you like when to use ridge or when to use lasso, so you should know. Explain the linear regression to a 7-year-old. This is toughest question, I will say. you s- and you should prepare for everything, like explain ML to 7 years old, explain deep learning to 7 years old, explain transformers to a 7-year-old. So you should prepared for these kinds of questions. It's not tough, but when it comes, in the interview, it gets difficult to explain. And project related. So if somebody tells me that they have used uh, linear regression or regression in their project, then I ask these kinds of questions to them. First of all, somebody will tell me, okay, they have done a regression project and they've used random forest or deep learning. Then the first question I ask them, why didn't they use linear regression? And this is very difficult question. I you guarantee you will go mad. when you hear this question, and you won't be able to give proper explanation why didn't you use it, whereas there are lots of sub question will come out of it, like 5 to 10 questions can easily be created from the explanation you will give, like why didn't you use the linear regression. So I will tell you, whenever you start with your uh, regression problem, start with linear regression, and then you go to random forest regressor, or XGBoost regressor, or deep learning, whatever it is. Start with linear regression. Okay. So, and how do you control overfitting and all questions? It's very pretty simple question, but yeah. Now coming to the what algorithm have you used for regression, and how do you decide which to go? Suppose a candidate would tell me they have used linear, range lasso, random forest regressor, XGBoost regression. So these all regression. I will ask them like why and did you choose this or over that, and all these kinds of questions. So you have to explain me based on the metrics. So, and like how do you test your data set for the linear regression? So suppose if I ask you this question again, this is a trick question, and the answer should be similar to assumptions of linear regression. More features than data point in linear regression. Suppose you have a 9 columns and 8 rows. So explain me if this is a scenario in a linear regression. The p-value. P-value is the hero of linear regression. So you should know the in and out of p-value for the hypothesis testing and all. Okay, so get your like get your hand dirty with the p-value. Know every possible outcomes of a p-value. Describe your data set. This means like what is the categorical value, what is the continuous value, discrete value, and all kind of this thing. I want to know about the data set. So how you handle the categorical value and all. So this is very trick questions, and it is very, you should be knowing the feature engineering part. Then only you will be answering these questions like describe your data set. And this dimensionality one, again there are lots of trick in linear regression where, or a regression method where you can reduce your variables, but yeah, you have to answer it in a most effective way. So why I'm considering linear regression, because linear regression is a tough model to get good results. Take a deep learning model, put your data set over there, it will learn and it will give you amazing results. But in linear data, you have to work hard with the data set. You have to understand your data set. You have to do a immense feature engineering, data cleaning before you put your data into the model, linear model. Otherwise, you won't get the proper result. So, somebody who is able to, fit and get good results in linear regression, he has really understood his data. He knows data, the stats behind each column and rows, and also the most important thing, he have done a lots of feature engineering so that he can get a good result. So I will suggest every new data science candidate who have stepped into this field, start with linear regression. Spend a lot of time in linear regression when you start with it. So that when you start with linear regression, your half of the battle will be won in the field of feature engineering, data cleaning, and understanding the data set and all. So rest all journey will be like a cakewalk. So that's all for today. Thank you.